For years, fans have wondered what happened between Sandara Park and Jung Il-woo, the two stars whose chemistry once made headlines across Asia. Their stories seem to fade quietly, lost in time and distance. But sometimes love doesn't end, it only waits. And now, after all these years, Dara and Jung Il-woo have found their way back to each other. It began with a chance encounter, or maybe fate, depending on how you see it. Jung Il-woo had been away from the spotlight for some time, choosing a life of quiet reflection after a demanding string of dramas and public commitments. Dara, on the other hand, had been busy with her solo projects, music, variety shows, and global events, proving once again that she was more than just a star. She was a legend who never stopped shining. But even with success surrounding them, both seemed to carry a quiet loneliness, one that fans couldn't help but notice. Then came that night, the night that changed everything. At an award ceremony in Seoul, Sandara Park walked the red carpet looking effortlessly elegant, her smile lighting up the cameras. But what the audience didn't expect was Jung Il-woo, stepping out moments later, standing tall, calm, and confident, yet his eyes told a different story. When their eyes met across the flashing lights, time seemed to pause. People close to them said it was as if the past returned in an instant, all the laughter, the missed moments, the unspoken words, everything they'd once shared but never fully said. That brief exchange became the talk of the night. Photos of them side by side went viral instantly, with fans flooding social media, asking the same question, are Dara and Jung Il-woo talking again? But no one had the answer, not yet. Behind the scenes, things were unfolding quietly. After the event, Jung Il-woo reportedly approached Dara's manager, simply saying, please tell her it was good to see her again. And that single message was enough. Days later, sources revealed that Dara reached out privately, sending a simple text that said, it really was. From there, everything changed. They began to meet occasionally, at first just as friends catching up over coffee, reminiscing about their old days, the drama sets, the missed calls, the letters that never reached their destinations. But as time went on, those quiet meetings became something deeper. According to insiders, Jung Il-woo had never truly moved on. While he had dated in the past, nothing ever felt quite the same. Friends close to him said he would occasionally mention Dara, her laugh, her kindness, her strength, as if she were a piece of his life that still lingered in his heart. For Dara, the years had taught her resilience and peace, but also what it meant to lose something that once felt right. She had once said in an interview, sometimes timing is everything. You can love someone deeply, but if the time isn't right, love alone can't hold you together. But this time, perhaps, the timing was finally right. When fans began noticing subtle clues, similar locations in their posts, matching accessories, and familiar backgrounds, speculation exploded. The once forgotten love story of Sandara Park and Jung Il-woo had resurfaced, and this time, it felt real. Still, both remained quiet, not confirming anything. But sometimes silence says more than words ever could. Then came the project that would bring them together again. A production company had been developing a new drama, a romantic slice-of-life story about two people who reconnect years after parting ways. And as fate would have it, both Dara and Jung Il-woo were offered the lead roles. At first, Dara hesitated. The story felt too close to home, too real. But Jung Il-woo encouraged her, saying softly, maybe it's time we stop running from the past. And so, they said yes. When filming began, the chemistry between them was undeniable. Crew members described the atmosphere as both nostalgic and healing. They didn't need to act, one staff member said. It was like watching two people rediscover something they'd been missing for a long time. Behind the camera, their laughter returned, natural, effortless, full of warmth. They were often seen talking between takes, sometimes sharing old inside jokes, sometimes just smiling quietly, lost in each other's company. The media caught wind of their closeness quickly. Paparazzi photos of them walking side by side after late-night shoots flooded the internet. But instead of hiding, Dara and Jung Il-woo seemed comfortable, almost relieved. For the first time, it didn't look like they were pretending. In an interview promoting the drama, a reporter asked Dara how it felt to work with Jung Il-woo again after so many years. She smiled and said, "It feels like coming home." And Jung Il-woo, sitting beside her, added, "Sometimes the best stories are the ones that take years to finish." That one line melted fans across the world. The clip was shared millions of times, and social media lit up with one message: they're still in love. As the drama aired, fans couldn't get enough of the pair's chemistry. Every scene, every glance felt personal, too real to be just acting. Behind-the-scenes videos showed them teasing each other, sharing food, and laughing uncontrollably. But it was one particular moment that sent fans over the edge. During a press event, a fan shouted from the crowd, "You two look happier than ever." Dara laughed and replied, "Maybe we are." And Jung Il-woo, smiling tenderly beside her, added, "We both learned that sometimes love doesn't end, it just finds its way back when you're ready." That moment confirmed what everyone already felt in their hearts. Dara and Jung Il-woo had indeed found their way back to each other. Away from the spotlight, their bond grew stronger. They began appearing in small gatherings together, supporting each other's projects, and spending quiet time away from cameras. Friends who saw them privately described a different kind of love: mature, grounded, and peaceful. "It's not about the spark anymore," one mutual friend shared. "It's about understanding. They don't need to prove anything to anyone." It wasn't the same love they had years ago. It was better, calmer, wiser, built on everything they'd learned apart. One evening, Jung Il-woo was spotted leaving a concert Dara hosted, flowers in hand, smiling as he greeted fans outside. When asked about it, he simply said, "It's important to show up for the people who make your heart happy." That line alone reignited their legend. Soon after, both their agencies released nearly identical statements. They share a deep bond and mutual respect that has only grown stronger over the years. For fans, that was enough. They didn't need a label. They didn't need confirmation. What mattered was that Dara and Jung Il-woo had found peace, and each other, once again. Months later, Dara shared a heartfelt message on her social media. It read, "Sometimes life takes you in circles just to bring you back where you belong." The post featured a single photo, the sunset reflecting off two coffee cups sitting side by side. Fans didn't need to guess who the other cup belonged to. In a world where love stories often fade under pressure, Dara and Jung Il-woo's reunion feels like a quiet miracle, proof that time doesn't always erase what's real. It only refines it. Their story isn't about rekindling something that once burned out. It's about recognizing that the flame never truly went away. It just waited for the right moment to glow again. After all these years, they've found their way back, not as who they were, but as who they've become. Stronger, wiser, and still very much in love. Because sometimes love doesn't ask for grand gestures or perfect timing. It just asks for two people willing to try again. And for Sandara Park and Jung Il-woo, that's exactly what they did. Months had passed since Dara and Jung Il-woo quietly rekindled their connection. The public had moved on from speculating about their reunion, but for those who truly followed their story, it was clear something special was happening behind the scenes. It wasn't about grand gestures or media headlines anymore. It was about peace, about two hearts rediscovering what it meant to be together after years of silence. Most days, their love was quiet. Morning walks by the Han River, shared meals at hidden cafes, and simple conversations that stretched long into the night. They were two people who had seen what fame could take away, and this time, they protected what they had with everything they could. Insiders close to them shared how different things felt this time. Before, their love had been young, passionate but fragile, often interrupted by schedules, expectations, and the noise of celebrity life. But now, it was steady, deliberate, and full of respect. Jung Il-woo had become the kind of man who listened more than he spoke. Years in the industry had taught him patience, and it showed in the way he treated Dara. Whenever she felt tired or overwhelmed, he didn't offer advice. He simply stayed beside her, a quiet presence reminding her she didn't have to face everything alone. And Dara, after years of independence, had learned how to let someone in again. She had always been known for her strength, her kindness, her ability to smile even through pain. But with Il-woo, she didn't have to pretend anymore. She could laugh freely, cry without fear, and rest without guilt. One night, while filming her new variety show, Dara received a surprise visitor. It was Jung Il-woo, quietly standing behind the cameras, wearing a baseball cap and a small grin. He didn't announce himself. He didn't need to. The moment Dara saw him, her entire expression softened. It wasn't the kind of love that needed public validation. It was something far more intimate, a simple look that said, "I'm here. I always will be." Later that evening, the production crew posted a few behind-the-scenes photos of Dara laughing harder than usual. Fans noticed immediately. "She looks different," one comment read. "She looks genuinely happy again." And they were right. But as always, fame has its way of testing even the strongest hearts. Soon, media outlets began speculating again, asking if Dara and Jung Il-woo were officially dating, or if they were just reconnecting as friends. Paparazzi photos appeared more often. Some fans supported them passionately, while others doubted their intentions. Still, through it all, they said nothing. Silence, once their weakness, had now become their greatest protection. They refused to let public opinion define what they shared privately. To them, love was no longer about proving anything. It was about preserving peace in a world that demanded noise. In a quiet moment one evening, Dara said something to a close friend that summed up everything she felt. She said, "You know what's funny? People think our story is a comeback. But for me, it's a continuation. We never really ended. We just paused to grow." And that was the truth. Their love had survived the distance, the misunderstandings, and the years apart, not because of luck, but because it was rooted in something real. As time went on, they found new ways to work together, not just as actors or performers, but as partners with a shared purpose. They began supporting charity projects side by side, visiting hospitals, and funding scholarships for underprivileged students pursuing art and performance. It was never about publicity. They rarely allowed cameras to follow them. But the people who saw them in person described something rare: two celebrities walking hand in hand like ordinary lovers, smiling with quiet contentment. One student who met them said softly, they looked at each other like the world disappeared. Then came the night that would seal their story in fans' hearts forever. During a music festival celebrating Asian artists, Dara was scheduled to perform as a surprise guest. The crowd didn't know it yet, but she had planned something special. Halfway through her performance, as the lights dimmed, a familiar voice joined hers. It was Jung Il-woo. The audience erupted in disbelief. He wasn't scheduled to appear, but there he was, standing beside her, harmonizing to a love song that had once been the soundtrack of their youth. Their voices blended perfectly, the years of separation dissolving in that moment. It wasn't a performance. It was a confession, honest, raw, and unforgettable. When the song ended, Dara turned to him, her eyes glistening. "After all this time," she whispered softly into the mic, "you still remember the lyrics?" Il-woo smiled, replying quietly, "How could I forget the song that brought us together?" The crowd roared, and fans everywhere broke into tears. For them, it wasn't just nostalgia, it was witnessing a love story reborn. After the festival, social media exploded with praise. Clips of their duet went viral across platforms, with fans calling it the moment that healed everyone's heart. But for Dara and Jung Il-woo, it wasn't about fame or attention. It was about gratitude, a simple thank you for finding each other again after all life storms. In the days that followed, both posted subtle messages on their accounts. Dara wrote, "Some people leave, some people stay. But the rare ones, they find their way back." And Jung Il-woo shared, "The longest journeys always lead home." No official confirmation. No dramatic statements. Just quiet truths written in words that only the two of them truly understood. Behind closed doors, they continued to build a life of calm. Friends described them as inseparable, though still private. They would often cook together, travel on short getaways, and spend time away from the noise of Seoul. Il-woo once mentioned in an interview that his definition of happiness had changed. He said, "It's not about fame anymore. It's about waking up next to peace." And though he didn't name anyone, everyone knew who he meant. Dara, too, reflected that same serenity. Her smile, brighter, freer, told the world that she had found something real. Then came another milestone, a small, intimate art exhibit held by Jung Il-woo, showcasing his personal photography. Among the black and white frames, one image stood out, a single silhouette of a woman by the sea, her hair flowing in the wind. Fans didn't need captions. They already knew. When asked about it, Jung Il-woo simply said, "That's what love looks like to me, peaceful, untamed, and eternal." And in that moment, the world understood that some stories don't need endings because they never truly stop. Years apart, countless missed chances, endless noise, but somehow, through it all, Dara and Jung Il-woo found their way back, not by chasing the past, but by embracing who they'd become. Their story isn't about first love or lost love. It's about the kind that matures quietly in the background until it's ready to bloom again. Because sometimes the truest love isn't the one that burns the brightest, it's the one that endures the longest. And for Sandara Park and Jung Il-woo, love didn't just return. It waited patiently, and when the time was right, it came home.